Hello and welcome to SPSS Class 2 from Part S15. So we're going to the World Bank World Development Indicators. If we click on this link, the link should take you to something that looks like this. Okay. Sometimes you go to it, it starts off looking like that, as in my screenshots. But the idea is that first of all we're going to click country, that expands that. Okay. And then so the parts of the interface are explained, we'll go through it in a moment. So first of all we select some countries, so we're going to select just randomly. I thought we might have Tanzania, so press the T, that brings up the T's, and then press the V, we'll get Vietnam as well. So we'll look at a couple of countries and just a few indicators over time. So that's the countries. When you click series, time series, this means what variables do you want to know about. And I've selected a few. There's one, economics one, and I want to find GDP per capita. You can just kind of search down for GDP per capita, but it's pretty hard because there's 1,000 or so of them. It's easier to use either the G to bring it up like that, you can see it there, or search for it here, or what I find is useful is just this filter thing. So I know I want to have GDP per capita and I want US dollars at 2010 prices, in other words, US dollars and adjusted for inflation. Aggregate indicators, I count there. That just gives me a few things, and the one I want is this one. Okay. The next one I want is to do with poverty, and that's got its own section down here somewhere. Poverty rates. I want to have poverty headcount at 190 a day. Okay. And then the other ones are health ones, aren't they? So health is up here, and they're both mortality ones. One is the life expectancy at birth total, and the other one is the infant mortality rates. It's female infant, male infants, and total infant there. Okay, so we should have selected 4 variables. So it confirms that I've got 4. And finally the time, and because we're doing time series, I'm going to try and select all the years. So tick this and it selects all the years that there is data for. Okay. We can apply those changes, this button up here, and that gives you a first view of the data. Now you can check it looks okay. In a later video we'll show you can rearrange this a bit, but for now let's just download it to Excel. Let's open the file. Nothing much happening. So there's the data. See, it looks a bit messy. So when you import this into SPSS, some things will cause problems. This will cause a problem here because this isn't really data. So you can zap that, just delete that. Oh, I can't, I've got to save it first. Enable editing and then save it. Because it's read only. Just pause. Okay, so I've saved it as WDI Income Poverty Health TS just for time series, because we're going to do cross-section later, but this is time series data. So I need to delete this stuff because that will confuse the system. Next thing, all this stuff here where there's 2 dots, that just means there's missing data. So that should either be just a blank or a dot. In this example, I'll just change it into a single dot because SPSS recognises a single dot meaning there's missing data. So if you press Ctrl H, this brings this dialog box up. Just put 2 dots in there and 1 dot in there, and just replace all. So it replaces all the 2 dots with 1 dot. Tells you 170 replacements. So That's a lot quicker than doing it by hand. Yeah, next is the major layout problem that we want to have. We want to have it going down instead of across. So what we have to do is select the whole lot of it. Here sometimes I'm at memory problems, and copy it. Hopefully my computer will cope. Click somewhere down here. I'll go to this cell, and it's this command there, that transpose command, changes all the rows to columns. So that's more like it. Once you've done that, then we don't need this anymore, so we can just snap that stuff. And then think about how it goes into SPSS. We need to have a nice row of neat titles, all in small case, without any gaps, just a few short variable names like that. So I'll call that country, I'll call the next one GDP. I'm putting per capita. I can't have a gap, so I'm putting that underscore because there's no gaps allowed. You could just call it GDP PC if you wanted to. This is poverty. Tanzania. This is life Tanzania. This is mortality in Tanzania. And then I want exactly the same things for Vietnam. So being a lazy person, I'll just copy those variable names, and as before do the replace. So I'll just replace TZ with Vietnam. So I'm going to replace Tanzania with Vietnam. Replace all. Okay, I think I've got 3 replacements, so I was too lazy. I didn't actually put Tanzania or Vietnam in that one. I forgot to put Tanzania in this one as well. Okay, so if I zoom in a bit, you can see I've got along the top there, those things will do as SPSS variable labels, variable names. Then that means this stuff here is no longer needed. So now it's looking almost ready to import into SPSS. Problem is just this thing here. Why the World Development Indicator gives you the year in this form? I mean, who wants to have that? Ludicrous. You should just what you want here is just 1960, and then 1961, like that. Once you put a couple in, you can just copy the rest down. That should just know what you're doing. That's 2020 there. Okay, so you can see there's no data for 2020 yet, not surprisingly. Even in the best of years, they couldn't get that data that quickly. I think that is then ready to import. So save it, and then import into SPSS, and we're ready to continue. So here we are in SPSS. Open up the file, and we're looking for that. No, that's completely wrong, isn't it? Sorry, I mean we're importing from Excel. Import. This takes a while to load. There you go. And I think that's the one we just saved, the Excel file. Open that. It takes a while again. There it comes. Data, make sure it's the right data, yes. Looks good. Read variable names to the top rows, they will come on like that. Excellent, okay. And where is it? Okay, so there it is. It looks a bit unpleasant, so before we do any analysis, I mean, it looks very, very messy, so what I'm going to do is I go to here and change all the variables to numeric. They should all be numbers. Change them all to numeric. Width. Probably 6 is enough for most things. You can just copy it. You've seen that message before? Yes, 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 yes. I didn't say it had to be 16 SPSS to that. Gosh. It's really malfunctioning. Let's try this. Sorry, I've been doing them. Let's decrease these first. So G per capita, that's 0. All these others can be 1 decimal points. Life expectancy 13 decimal places. Good as well, that's ambitious. Infant mortality to 1 decimal place. Life expectancy can be to low decimal places. Infant mortality to 1 decimal place. You don't have to follow this exactly. It's also kind of a strange order. Okay, now you can reduce these hopefully. And that needs to be much more than that. Just realised what I've named country is actually be the year, isn't it? Thinking ahead. Right, okay, year is 4th, no place, that's making more sense. They're all scale, good. Columns doesn't really matter too much, you can adjust that anyway. Okay, so I'm also going to enter some suitable variables in here. I think I should pause what I'm doing this to make it, otherwise it's too long. So I type these in, let's just expand it so you can see what I typed in there. So typing in these labels to explain what the data is in more detail. And finally you should save the data. So use the save command like that. It takes a while on my computer, and then you can just give it a name. So I've got one that I've already started working, I think. That's the cross-sectional one. Income property office, that's one. I'll call this another working copy. I'm going to put in TS as well for time series. Okay, so all the data's in there. You can see there's quite a lot of gaps in the data where there's missing measurements, which we'll try and deal with later on. But apart from that, we're ready to do some analysis. I'll probably just straighten this up a bit. It's a bit awkward looking. I mean, you can also do that here by just changing these columns to something sensible. So the first one could be really short because it's the year, and the rest could be 10 each. That's starting to look better. Okay, so now I'll start to do some analysis, but I'll leave that to the next video because this one's getting long. Thanks for watching.